I think you're episode number 34.
34. So was
What's
that
that?
episode number one as well?
You were three.
Three and 34.
34.
Not too bad.
Does that mean anything to you?
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet. Well, it does now.
It does now. How you been?
Good, man. I was thinking this morning, it seems like forever ago that we were in Costa Rica. It doesn't like month wise, it's only been like what, 5 months, maybe?
Yeah.
Seems like a lot longer than that. Seems like it like a lifetime ago, to be honest.
What feels longer, the week that you were there or the week that you've been away or the time that you've been away for 5 months?
Oh, by far the time I've been away.
Time you've been away.
Yeah.
Mine still feels like the week I've been there. It felt like a lifetime.
Really?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was
Because
very
of the
surreal.
memories and the experiences and stuff.
Yeah. Um, I guess the best way to describe it is, when some people get choked out and they live like a lifetime and then they wake up and it's only been 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's kind of how
Kind
it felt to me. And I don't know what that actually feels like actually. But if I could guess, it would be how I felt in Costa Rica.
yep.
Yeah. I received a before I get really deep into it, have you been doing many practices of meditation or yoga still, or are you pretty consistent with that kind of stuff?
No meditation.
No meditation.
Yoga's been light. Uh, I'm kind of back to my normal routine.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's more active meditation, but I run a lot because I've got, two dogs. So,
Yeah.
been intentional. Hold on one sec.
Yeah, no problem.
I've been intentional about not putting headphones in when I go for a run.
That's
And
meditation, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, and that seems to clear the mind. Actually, I was doing that right before this call, so I didn't get out of the shower. But
Yeah.
if you see a bead of sweat, you're not making me nervous.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I mean, we did the teas and stuff for a little bit, like the after shower teas, the
Yeah.
sweet tea and then the tobacco tea. So we did that for a bit. Um, but yeah, you know, nothing like super crazy out of what I was doing beforehand. So, how about
I
you?
I receive so I'm gonna go back next March, I'm pretty sure. But this last week I've just really been listening to myself and trying to, because I feel like I've made a lot of progress, a ton, but I feel like there's still more to make. And
Always.
as I continue this journey of fitness, my business, um, as a father, I feel like I've been called to like go into the jungle for a week in the Amazon. So I've recently actually been looking up like tours in Peru, like a tour guide kind of deal for like 6 to 8 days, where it's a mix of kind of going through the Amazon as well as like ceremonies at night. Just to, I don't know. I have the idea in my mind and it's not leaving.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah. Right. It's
Well,
like
yeah,
guidance.
I don't think you need a reason for everything either. It's just like if it's something calls to you and you just gotta, I think that was one of the things that like Rhythmia taught us is that like I think a lot of times we tend to we suppress the feeling through logic. And sometimes you just have to turn off the logic and go with the feeling.
Yeah. Right. Or we suppress or numb the emotions with different substances. Or
Yeah.
when I experienced something a couple weeks ago that I've never experienced before, and I'm pretty sure you have experienced this because I think you run every morning. So I went on a 13 and a half mile hike a week and a half ago, and I ran after 10 miles. I ran for like the final 3 miles, and I got a runner's high.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's crazy. I never
Yeah.
knew that existed. I've heard it, but I didn't. I just thought that was a fitness douche being a fitness douche. I didn't realize that you get this hit of
Hi.
euphoria. It's
Yep.
crazy.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I
I
need to
found
pick it up.
you have to like you either have to for at least for me like I have to go either really intense like do like a hit workout and then I'll do some running afterwards or I just have to go for a really long time. Um but yeah, I mean that's a real thing. And I typically like if I'm like in a high stress situation for like work or life just whatever happens, like that's when I'm like okay, cool. Like I need to go for that really long run or really intense workout because if not, I just find myself, reaching for the bottle, which is never any good. So, especially in high stress situations. But yeah, I mean that's a real thing, man.
It feels like this is the way that it goes through my mind. Like I need to beat myself up a little bit physically to make myself feel better.
Yes.
And not with a substance, but with exercise and challenging my body to go further and further and further.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Well,
what I've gathered.
yeah, like intensity for sure. But I think, Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman and, Peter Attia and all these guys talk about it all the time. But like, the hardest, if you select or elect to make your workout the hardest part of your day, like everything else is just like it's like whatever after that.
Yeah.
It's like I already did the hard thing. Like I already did the cold plunge, or I already did the 180-degree sauna and the intense hit workout where I thought I was gonna puke and die. So like after that, all the other stuff is just,
Yeah.
you know, you can just shrug, you can shrug your shoulders. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So,
all right. So CrossFit Games 2026.
sure. Are you going to do it with me?
Okay,
Let's train
sure.
together.
Yeah, you and I can do it together.
Okay. What is that? What is the CrossFit Games?
It's just like it's like the CrossFit Olympics essentially, but we would probably stand no chance, but it would be really hilarious for us to try. Um,
Of course, we'd stand no chance.
uh,
Is this
I don't.
televised?
Oh yeah, you can watch it on YouTube. I don't think it's televised like on actual TV, but yeah, YouTube has a bunch of like the past competitions and stuff, but it's crazy. Like they do like rowing for, you have to row for like
Oh,
3,000 meters, and then after that you jump and do like a bunch of like crazy lifts, and then you have to do like 100 pull-ups, and then you have to go and do like a bunch of lunges with, 150 pounds on your shoulders or something crazy.
wow.
Yeah.
I literally just got to 65 straight push-ups without stopping. I couldn't imagine doing 100 pull-ups.
Dude, 65 in a row is legit.
It's I've been working up to that number. Trust me. It's taken how long have we I've started when we got back from Costa Rica,
Yeah.
and I've been rehabbing from the shoulder injury as well. So yeah, it was 30 for a long time, at least 2 months. And that's one of the biggest things that I've gained from this fitness journey is you don't see results overnight or even maybe in a week, but as you gradually progress, you go further and further and further. And now I've more than doubled what I was at one time able to do. And it's so easy to give up when you do 30 like for 3 straight days or 4 straight days.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean it's like it's everything in life. It's just consistency.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, fitness is not a sprint. Most things in life are not a sprint, they're a marathon. Um,
Relationships,
yep,
marathon.
exactly. So
What
how's family life? How's dad life?
been a tough week actually. I had the kids this week. Uh sometimes the energy just doesn't align correctly. And that's the best way I can put it. The other weeks this summer have been a lot of fun. And this week, this summer has been frustrating in a lot of ways. I think I've been the most frustrated I've been since I've been back from Costa Rica with my kids. And it's just like them bickering at each other. You know, my youngest, who's almost 4, we're currently going through the phase right now of okay, I'll play with you for a bit, but you can go play by yourself for a bit. It's like that separation part of
Mhm.
it. It's you know, with 3 of them and there's one parent, and I as much turbulence as my ex-wife and I have, I give her a lot of credit. 3 children, one person, that you're outnumbered. And when you sit down for dinner and you get everybody a glass of water and you forget one napkin, the 3-year-old, 4-year-old says to you, I don't have a napkin. It's like, I was just about to take my first bite into my food.
Yeah.
And then you're halfway through it, and then the other kid, breaks their taco or something. Then you got to make a new taco. And it's like, it's just shit like that. It's not
All
like
right, so Taco Tuesday was not a success.
Taco Tuesday wasn't a success. uh, you know, we, the new season of Fortnite came out. And by the way, very sweet season. It's Halo themed, which is really cool. Usually what happens when the new season comes out is there's a lot of sweats, and my 9-year-old son gets worked, and he rages, and it's like, all right, you got to step away. And it's so frustrating because it's like, just calm down. It seems so easy. It's so easy to say,
Yep.
and for somebody that's young, it's not easy. So, navigating that as well, because like, you want to have fun with them, and you want your time with them to also be really effective. So it's like, it's walking that fine line of, well, we spent, this time with dad, and he was a dick for like 80% of it. And I don't want that that
I don't,
perception, but sometimes that's tough love too. So it's a balance, right?
yeah.
It's yeah.
I find it hard to believe that they would walk away from a week with you and be like, Dad was a dick the entire time.
They
Um,
don't, but I feel that way.
but I mean, yeah, they're also like, your kids aren't your friends. They're your kids, and like you have to teach them lessons. And I mean, emotional regulation is probably one of the most valuable lessons that you could ever teach your kid, because like think about how many adults have zero or very little emotional regulation, where, you know, it's just like you see people throw temper tantrums. So it's like, oh, you can't control your emotions, so let them control you. Great idea, right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, that's exactly how people act. Like that's where Karen came from.
We came from a place where we watched people progress through navigating their emotions, just a half year ago. So you're exactly right. And I just don't want my kids to go into the real world eventually and not be ready. And what I mean by that is not what they're going to learn in school, but when they're going to actually sit down in a meeting room with other managers, other executives, whatever it is, and they can't handle being told something that they don't want to hear.
Yep.
Instead, they hear what they don't want to hear, and they're able to constructively fix it or address it head on. So it's something that's super important to me, because I just don't feel like schools prepare kids for anything.
Yeah. I mean, the more I think about with AI coming, and just the changing, global world order, and all of the things that we're going to see, school is like, in my mind, completely outdated at this point. Like they used to say, actually, Mike Rose got a really good saying. He's like, they used to tell you, go to school to be a programmer, go to school to be a programmer, go to school to be a programmer. Well, AI can program anything for anybody now.
Yeah.
So what are all those programmers going to go and do? The world needs plumbers. The world needs electricians. The world needs mechanics. They need HVAC people. They need truck drivers. But school has taught everybody, don't do that. Go and be a programmer. Now
I
AI
know.
is taking all the programmers' jobs. It's crazy.
You're so right, because we were told all this time, oh, you're going to get phased out if you're a blue collar worker. And here we are. It's the exact opposite.
Yep.
Even doctors and lawyers are at risk when
Yeah.
it comes
I
to
mean,
AI.
in time, right? In time, for sure.
What's your opinion when a lot of older people bitch about kids cheating with open AI in school? A lot of people say, oh, it's making us dumber, it's making us dumber. But I think what people are forgetting is, like, we had lead in our gasoline until like the 90s, and we put fluoride in our toothpaste, and we do all these other things that affect us neurologically. But now, because we maybe have a tool that can help us navigate through stuff to give us time for other things, now it's dangerous. I
Well,
can see I can see it in a way, but at the same time, this is like the natural progression of how things evolve.
yeah. So I think that there's the way that I think about it is, you have to look at the tools. You can't blame somebody for using a better tool, right? Like we humans evolved through the adaptation and usage of better tools. I think the challenge is really the atrophy of the critical thinking skills because you use a tool to do the critical thinking for you. Therefore, you don't have to apply much critical thinking yourself. But again, if our school system is so outdated that students can get by using AI instead of actually using applying critical thinking, then who's actually at fault? In my opinion, it's not the students using the better tool. It's the school system being so far behind and not being prepared for what's coming.
And you mentioned a word that isn't taught in school, critical thinking.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not. It's here's the book that's written by Reuters and Thomson Reuters, and this is the history, and this is what it is. And really, and I'm not being anti-Semitic when I say this. If we could just use World War II as an example, it would be a lot more effective if we heard Hitler's side just as well as we heard our side of the story, and then make an opinion.
To the victors, I mean, obviously genocide's never good.
No,
Like I
I'm
think,
not. I'm not
and
advocating for the
yeah, I mean,
Holocaust, but it's an extreme point.
yeah. Well, and I mean, what is it? 1984 Brave New World, like the victors write the textbooks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's always been the case, right? There's, the other side, the losing side can oftentimes be villainized. I mean, not to say that, Hitler wasn't a villain, but just, like obviously, when you win the war, you write the story, right?
Yeah.
That's why when you look at British history and American history, they're very, very different stories.
Hmm.
Same things happened, very different narrative.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think about that all the time, right? Like what we're not teaching, we're not teaching what we need to be teaching in schools. And like you think about things like, okay, well, how come 60 to 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck? Like why, how is that possible when the government literally printed thousands of dollars and handed it out to every single person and every single business in the United States 4 years ago? Stock market has only gone up dramatically. Look at crypto. Crypto's fucking crushing it right now, and
Hmm.
yet nobody has any money
Right.
because nobody was taught, right? Nobody's taught like where does money come from? Well, how does economics work? What
Right.
is inflation, right? What is compounding interest? Einstein said it was the eighth wonder of the world. Half the people, 80% of people can't even explain compounding interest. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where, you think about it and it's like, okay, well, who is going to teach the next generation this stuff? Because they're not getting it in college, they're not getting it in high school, they're not getting it really anywhere.
No, and to take it even a little bit further is you have doctors who are taught things, in college. They're given books, but they're not always right. There's not enough stress on the diet. I had Ryan, and I didn't clarify how to say his last name. I might say it wrong. Encinas on last week, and if you didn't tune into that episode, he's like an ex cancer surgeon, and he's now part of like a holistic registered nurse program,
Hmm.
and he has this device called like a Raman spectroscopy, which is like a Nobel winning technology from the 30s that essentially assesses like your metabolic uh, composition inside of your body. And anyway, somehow you can supplement it correctly with some sort of potassium and magnesium. But what I'm getting at is what's taught in school is nothing actually about nutrition or diet. It's here's the shots, here's the pills, here are everything just to as we were talking about earlier to kind of numb the pain but not actually find the root. And that's the biggest problem I see with schooling and college and all this is it's just a giant propaganda machine.
Yep. So Dr. Peter Attia, who I referenced earlier, he's got a great book called Outlive. Um, the way that he describes it is he was also, in the medical industry. Um, and he described it as I was just standing at the bottom of the cliff and the bodies just kept on falling down, and he was like trying to help people get their life back together. And he finally got to the point where it's like, I'm just going to go to the top of the cliff and figure out why people are falling off because they are not stopping falling. And so that's kind of been his life work ever since. And he's got great stuff out about, lifespan, but also health span. So how, not only how old are you going to be, but like how well are you going to live your life in your 70s and 80s and 90s? And, he talks about nutrition and strength and endurance, VO2 max, like all of these indicators that pretty much give you it's the playbook for how to live a healthy life. Um, the problem is that doing that is time consuming and expensive, right? Like it's crazy to me that it's cheaper to go and buy a bag of Cheetos and a case of Pepsi than it is to get, some mineral water and some vegetables.
Yeah, I was just watching this. Are you familiar with Asmongold?
No, what's that?
Asmongold is like a video game streamer, but what he's been doing for like the last year is reviewing. Basically, he'll play a video and then he'll comment on it, kind of deal. And I was just watching this video of these people that are maxing out on their EBT cards, and I know that they just RFK had just dialed back on what you can spend on an EBT card. You can't do pop and chips and all that shit. So it's all these like 300-pound black women on TikTok like posting the video of their EBT day, and that's like a day of celebration. And they just load up their cart with all junk food. And when I was watching these videos of them throwing chips and processed foods and sugar and cookies and bread, it's like, oh my God, you're having bread for every fucking meal. And now it makes perfect sense. The government wants to make you sick, so then the pharmaceutical companies can continue to profit because the pharmaceutical companies have the interests of the politicians in mind.
Hmm. And the
And
healthcare insurance industry, right?
yeah,
And the Farmers Association of America. Why is the food pyramid grains? That makes no sense, right? Should not be that way. Should be vegetables and meat. Um, like, yeah, it all works together in a ecosystem that's designed to keep people out of shape, unhealthy, you know, no critical and going back to education, right? No critical thinking. Um, Also, like the effects of sugar on your brain are like incredibly detrimental. Nobody talks about that, right? And also, here's something that drives me crazy. So I went to 2 companies ago. I went to St. Kitts, which is an island like far out in the Caribbean, and they talked about like it was a big sugar plantation island a long time ago, very small island. And they talked about how when sugar was like first discovered in the Caribbean, the British Empire decided that every island they possibly could, they were just going to put sugar plantations on sugar plantations. Um, and I was like, I never really thought about sugar, but I was like, yeah, like cool sugar, but like, what's the big deal? And they were like, keep in mind, before sugar, the only thing that you could get that was sweet was fruit and honey.
and probably
And that's it.
syrup, maybe.
Yeah,
Make
yeah, and
yeah.
and like maple syrup, but I guess
Yeah.
they didn't have much of that in like the British Empire.
Okay.
Um, so with the advent of sugar that you could literally put into anything, it pretty much just gave because it was like sugar and sweets and stuff was really for the rich before then. But then everybody, you could put sugar in your tea, you could put sugar in, you could make cookies that like tasted like, they weren't biscuits, right? They were cookies. Um,
Wow.
and it just kind of blew my mind that like there was a time where we just didn't have instant access to sugar. And now you think about it, there's like 40 grams of sugar in a can of soda. That's like this much of the can that's straight sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
wild.
mean, imagine just dumping 40 grams straight.
Yeah.
It's the same as if you were to put 2 shots of tequila into your can of Coke. Well, you're still going to drink the 2 shots of tequila. Same thing with the sugar. You're going to get every last granule of that sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to combine it with a grain, And then you think about, again, let's go back to school for a second. You in the morning, the parent that works and just has enough time to get their kid ready for school in the morning, give all right, throw a Pop Tart in the toaster, throw a bagel in the toaster. Make sure you put your blueberry or strawberry cream cheese on top of it. By the way, let's add some more sugar and some dairy. Like it's there's all these different prototypical meals that we now use as Americans, and we wonder why we're the unhealthiest country in the world, yet we invest the most money into healthcare. It's clear. It's abundantly clear.
Yep.
And people don't want to hear you say it either. If you say it, it's considered controversial, but it's just fact.
Yeah, I struggle with people who get upset about things like that. It's just like, we should be able to have open dialogue about these things. And like if you have facts or data or information that prove my statements to be, wrong, like cool. Like I'm open to change. I'm open to changing my mind. But I think that, for most of this stuff, the evidence is pretty clear. Um, but like when you were a kid, so like I grew up, I was one of seven children. My parents didn't have much money. My parents like and we had food stamps when growing up. My parents just never allowed, like, there was no sugar cereal. Like it was like the best that we got was like Honey Bunches of Oats. Like that was like our treat for cereal.
Sure.
Probably still not good for you, but like, there was no Fruit Loops, there was no, Reese's Puffs, there was no none of that.
No food dye.
Um, Soda was reserved for Christmas, Easter, and special occasions and a birthday, but you didn't get soda all the time. Um, and you always, like, every meal had a vegetable that you had to eat. Um, well, I was your childhood like that? Like I only know like my own and my friends growing up. Well, like most of our
Yeah.
friends were kind of similar.
Yeah. For me, I think I grew up a little differently. I had a mother who was a hippie, and when it came to food, it was very, very organic from the start, and totally blessed in that way. Um, so yeah, for me personally, for breakfast, it was typically eggs or some sort of protein. As I got older, my parents allowed me to, if I wanted special care with the freeze dried strawberries or fruity pebbles, like I went after that. I did bagels for a while, but non enriched flour bagels. Um, you know, but I would often find myself, I learned this about myself in high school by my sophomore year. At that time, now you're getting yourself ready and you're walking to the bus. I would always find myself starving at like 8 a.m. after having like a bowl of cereal.
Yep.
And at that point, I learned, okay, well, maybe I have to eat more. But now I'm learning that you shouldn't be eating right away in the morning, anyways. There's a reason why it's called break fast. And it seems like the all the powers that be that run the food uh companies, they want you to eat right away in the morning, but I beg to differ now. I'll eat one meal a day, and it's a very nutritious meal, and that's it. And it's not right when I wake up. And by the way, I'm not hungry when I wake up because I have now trained my body to not be hungry when it wakes up. I think when you eat all that sugar and you eat all that bread, your body's constantly asking for more, for more, for more. And then you continue to
Yep.
binge on it. When you eat
Yep.
something whole and then you're also in a routine of, all right, I'll eat at 1 o'clock today, it's a lot different. And you're not going to die if you're hungry for a couple hours. Wait for it to pass, and then that's when the good stuff begins.
Yep. Yeah, I'm not a big breakfast person myself, but there's actually been studies that show that what you eat for breakfast is what matters more. Like you can have the same caloric intake, but if you eat sugar or you eat carbs versus you eat like protein or yogurt, something like that, your hunger is much, much higher. And you'll over the course of the day, you'll consume many more calories if you eat sugar and carbohydrates to start your day versus protein or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
it's a great call out. And
yep.
again, that shouldn't be controversial.
Well, yeah, I mean, anybody who says it is, it's just again like show me the science. But isn't it so cool though, like like in this day and age that we live in a world where like we have access to this? Like, because
Mhm.
when we were growing up, like there was no, what did you have? Like I remember
At
the
school.
Britannica. Yeah, like you had the Britannica encyclopedia, like that was it. So like we're still in like the first inning of like what it means to be in the digital age and the the information age, and there's plenty of challenges with that too, because how do you know what to trust, and you got to do your own research. But like the ability to think critically and go and do your own research powered by AI. And again, you even have to inspect what the AI tells you. So you need to cross-reference, and there's work to be done. But like the tool we have, again, going back to what we were talking about before with AI in schools, the tools are there and they've never been more powerful. And to me, that's like the coolest thing ever because like I don't have to turn on to the evening news in order to get information. I don't have to go and, only subscribe to what the books that the school has tell me about things. Like I can learn on my own. And to me, that's kind of the biggest opportunity I see for young people nowadays is that, with the right guidance and the right type of teacher, they can accelerate their learning so much faster than we ever could.
When you mentioned earlier about utilizing AI and implementing it in school, it can be so beneficial. And it's just school falling further and further behind in this day and age. If you were to somehow integrate AI, let's say, because as open AI begins to get to know you a little bit more, if, all these kids have iPads now, there should be some sort of implementation where the open AI is essentially like your little assistant.
Hmm.
And it doesn't give you the answers necessarily, but it then says, okay, let's think about this. What are the different thoughts you're having? And then, you write down those different thoughts, and then AI just kind of helps you sort through it. Which, by the way, I would much rather prefer a computer system helping my child critically think than a blue haired far left teacher that is advocating for my kid to do a gender reversal behind my back.
Or I mean, like, listen, far left, far right, like I don't care
Either
what
or. It's usually far
yeah,
left
like
for teachers, though.
yeah, that's true. But like just yes, I want somebody that is going to think about like sticking to don't put your personal biases into education. That's not really where it belongs.
No,
Um, but even the AI algorithms, they don't necessarily give you exactly like what's right, and
no,
like
they're wrong sometimes.
yeah, and algorithms have been tricked too. Um, but again, I think it's just like, if a student was to go and use AI to get the answers, I have no problem with AI giving them the answers, but they need to show how they got to that answer. And if they reverse engineer the answer and the answer the way that they did it is wrong, it's like, no, well, you still don't know, you don't understand. You need to go back and you can have the answer to the equation, right? But you need to show how this equation is solved. And that is the importance and significance in my mind of a teacher, right? It's show me how. Um, so, AI is here to stay, right? Like it's not going anywhere.
No,
So,
no.
yeah, I think that it's going to be very interesting to see this play out in the coming years, how we adapt and evolve with it, because, if we're not, then guess what? We're gonna have a generation of kids just kind of like the COVID generation who, you know, went 2 or 3 years without seeing their classmates and learning from home, whatever that was.
Yeah.
um we're going to have that all over again because kids just aren't going to know how to think critically.
Have, I forget what family it is. It's either the Rothschilds or Rockefeller that invented
Vanderbilt.
school in the late 1800s.
Oh, the modern school system, yeah, it was like meant to simulate factory work.
To take the kids away from the family that were contributing on the farm, because it was, in a way that it was a decentralized way of life. When you lived in these regions within maybe a 2 or 3 mile radius, the guy with the goats was trading goat milk with the guy that had beef.
Mhm.
And
No
the
tax
dot
on that.
yeah, yeah. And we're we're at now entering again a stage where information is decentralized and also work is becoming decentralized. There's so much money that can just be made from a laptop. If you were to dedicate 5 to 7 hours a day, and that's light, on your laptop to creating some sort of channel, creating some sort of content, and just being persistent with it, the money is out there, and people they dish it out like crazy,
Hmm.
and it's corporations losing more and more and more control of the people now that information has come along. Have you heard the term malinformation?
Malinformation. Well, mal means bad, so bad information.
Well, not quite. Let me educate you. This is something I learned on Libs of TikTok. So the 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 term malinformation, it's not misinformation. So the information's correct, but it's dangerous. So it still shouldn't be shared. How do you feel about that?
Information being dangerous. I mean,
But it's true. It's fact, but maybe we shouldn't share it because it's dangerous. This is in the
here's the
dictionary now,
problem,
by the
right?
way.
Here's somebody has to define dangerous, and that's where the problem is, right?
That's a
It's the same
slippery
thing with
slope.
yeah, well, you can't say that, same thing with free speech. Some speech is dangerous, hate speech is dangerous. Sure, I agree. However, who gets to decide, right? It's the
Yeah.
person that decides that this is bad speech. And you look at what is happening right now in the UK, actually. There's so many people that have been arrested for online hate speech and are
And
literally,
memes.
yeah, and going to jail for it. Like literally prison for hate speech online. It's like, man, that is just a bridge too far for me. Now, like, yeah, like calling to do terrible things to people and like something that leads to, a gang violence or like, a murder or anything like
Big
that. Sure.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like and by the way, like, the I would hope that our government does monitor those things and sees that stuff and it's like, okay, this person is probably mentally unstable, right? And like goes and does something about it. That to me is okay. Like check in on the person to make sure that they are doing well. Um, but preventing people from speaking things because we label things as malinformation, no. Like, sorry, I just don't. I'm not going to buy into that. Like, that literally goes against our constitutional rights. Like, that's ridiculous.
How do you feel about it sounds like it's actually in the near future here for America, from what I've been following, that we're going to have to each enter our ID in order to have a digital footprint going forward. So like your Twitter account, your Instagram, your I think LinkedIn does make you put your ID in just for no bots. And in some ways I do.
ID, like driver's license?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't done that. I'll just
Okay.
delete my socials. I mean, I'm not very active on social anyways.
Right.
Like, I don't like posting stuff. I mean, I just tend to be a private person. Like, I don't, I feel bad because my friends, like, I like my friends' photos and stuff, and they're like, dude, what have you been up to? And I'm just like, I'll send them a couple pictures, like, dude, you never post, and I'm just like, I don't like putting stuff out there for anybody and everybody to see. But I would just delete them at that point. Like, I don't want, like the what is it, you know the the social credit score and all that stuff. It's
It's
just like,
coming.
yeah, well, I mean, then it's like, okay, cool. Like I'm gonna go back to Costa Rica and hang out around Rhythmia for a very long time.
Yeah, that's when it's time to leave, right?
Yeah, because that's just not, it's not so much about me because like it won't happen in our generation per se. It's what happens to our kids and our grandkids.
Yeah.
And like, now, at least for myself, I'm in the phase of life now where like you got to start seriously thinking about putting down roots somewhere. And it's like, where do we want to be in the long term? And like where do you want to raise kids and where do you want your family to visit? And like, yeah, if we're doing stuff like that, to me it just doesn't I'm not interested, right? Because slowly over time, and you see this happen with the Patriot Act and throughout history, like it's a slow constriction of your freedoms and your rights. And eventually you end up in a place where whoever's in the office, which changes like the wind, gets to decide what you can and can't do.
Do you have an idea of where you want to put your roots? Have you thought about it? Is it in America?
I struggle because, yeah, I mean, I have six brothers and sisters, and they're all over the place. And, it's always good to have a place where everybody can go and be on vacation, and that it's a family property and stuff where like anybody's welcome. My parents are also older. So, obviously well, not obviously, they're healthy for now, but that can obviously change in the not so distant future. So that's something that I think about. They're not very likely to leave America. So I get more and more, I get the feeling that, perhaps putting down roots in America for let's call it the next 5 to, or maybe 10 to 15 years might make sense. But also just having that plan B, having that place where it's just like, okay, cool, like things just aren't shaping up the way that we want to. You can always pull the ripcord.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough thing because I believe your story, and tell me if you're wrong. Your family's from the Dominican, correct?
So yeah, so my grandfather immigrated here from the Dominican Republic when
Okay.
he was 6. Yep.
Yeah, and to have that American citizenship is considered to be
A
it,
blessing.
a blessing, right? So it's, as crazy as things get here, you still do have to remain thankful in a lot of different ways because it could be a lot worse. You just mentioned the UK, and there's shit going on in France, and there's shit going on in Ireland, so it's all over the world. It really is.
Dude, and see, this is like so I forget who said it, but somebody said, the sign of an intelligent person is to be able to hold two conflicting ideas in their head at the same time and consider both to be true.
Mhm.
And this is one of those ones where I struggle with because it's like, yeah, you need a plan B. I need to get out of here. And then you're kind of like, well, in a lot of respects, America still is like the greatest country in the world. And it's like we shit on the education system and the healthcare system and like
Yeah.
all of this bad stuff. But there's a reason why there's so many people that are kicking down our door to fucking enter this country.
Hmm.
It's because it's still despite all of that stuff, it's still, let's say, one of the greatest countries in the world. I mean, there's a lot of countries that we should also draw inspiration from, and there's a lot of really cool
Yeah.
countries doing great things out there. But yeah, I mean, America is still a great place, and I still believe. I mean, in my mind, I am the American dream, and I didn't come from anything, and like I said, my parents were, you know, about as broke could be, although we didn't know it at the time. Um, and I'm doing pretty well for myself now, so it's like that still is possible, and I didn't like I grew up in an inner city, like I went to school with like where like white people were the minority. Um, and yeah, like the education system wasn't great, and there was their fair share of teachers that cared and teachers that didn't. But like even through all that, went to college, took on a bunch of debt, too much debt, right? And
Yeah.
through all that, you can figure it out and you can come out on top. So
I think that's what makes this country so great is the people inside it can be critical of it. And a lot of times it does move the needle in some ways. And maybe sometimes we think that politicians are only moving the needle just to shut us up for a little bit, but it does feel like the needle is being moved in some ways. For one, the direction of the health. For two, Trump denying the Epstein files for like 2 weeks, and now all of a sudden now we're getting a little bit more, some little grains. Now I don't know, that's just
that
a fucked up situation altogether. But
honestly, like shame on him for saying he was going to do something and not doing it,
yeah,
because
big letdown.
also like you're going to get on the Joe Rogan podcast and literally say that like this is going to happen week 1, day 1, like just add it to the list of like broken promises from that guy, which is really disappointing.
It
Uh,
is.
but I mean, like that list is out there, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, we've
like
already kind of seen the list. I mean,
yeah,
and it's so funny watching him answer questions about it and the progression of how he's answered the question because I
at the end, like from the beginning to like at the end, being like, "Shut the hell up! This is stupid." Next
yeah,
question.
it's filled with lies. It's a bunch of propaganda, and it probably did happen for 4 years where they probably did put his name in the report. And then they give him the report and he sees his name is everywhere in it. And he's like, fuck this.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, I think it's up to the American people to decide if we were to actually read all the files, we can decipher how we feel about the situation. But the point I'm getting at is what makes the country great is the citizens inside this country can vocally speak about what is wrong about this country, and we can try to make some changes
As long as it's not malinformation.
as long as it's not malinformation. That's correct.
I mean, so actually, speaking of things that we should be helpful or grateful for, um, fucking crypto, man. Um, I like like I've been so I forget who said it, but somebody or Michael Saylor was talking about like 100 hours. Like once you get to 100 hours and like the need to know basis, which is, a lot of people who kind of poo-poo crypto don't really need to know. Warren Buffett doesn't really need to know about it, but when you're the average person looking to save money and find um an asset to invest in that's not going to depreciate over time, um and think about digital currency of the future and all that stuff. It's just like, we didn't have that 20 years ago. We didn't have, information to even think about stuff like that 20 years ago. Um, so yeah, it's pretty wild, like to see how even a lot of the things that we're talking about and the things that make the US great are also starting to play an impact in global economics and just the overall the system itself that we live in.
Yeah, crypto is so it's like the wild west of finance, and we're still so early
Hmm.
because, as you mentioned, you have people like Warren Buffett and 70-year-old dinosaurs that have all this money that just want to stay in the stock market. And the next generations that receive this money are not going to just stay in the stock market. Right now, the total market cap of the crypto sector is like $3.8 trillion. And I think Nvidia is like what, four, right? Or maybe that's Apple. It's one of the two.
Gold
And
is 10.
I don't know what the total market cap for the stock market is, but eventually the numbers are going to be reversed with the way that everything is going.
Well, they're going to be correlated too, right? So, like,
Yeah.
if you think about it, the fact that BlackRock, has an ETF, right? And
Yep.
you can invest in MicroStrategy, which is pretty much tied directly to Bitcoin, right? Highly leveraged Bitcoin. Um, even, stable coins that ride on Bitcoin, right, is pegged to the US dollar, but is also used to buy US debt. Right. So like the Treasury is issuing bonds that these stablecoin companies are buying up to then go and issue stablecoins. So like the it's crazy, even since we last spoke, how fast this part has moved, where the global finance system and the global, economic environment is changing so dramatically because of this new age of information that we live in. So I just think it's super cool. And like I mean, I went to school. I wanted I was one class away from minoring in economics, but I decided that in my senior year, that wasn't what I was going to put myself through an economics 300 level course. But I'm passionate about economics. I think it's just really cool to understand the circulation of money throughout the globe. But when something new like this comes around, I mean, it's not very often that there's a new currency that literally is poised to potentially completely redesign the global system that we live in with fiat currencies.
You ever dig into who created Bitcoin?
It's Satoshi, duh.
Satoshi Nakamoto, right?
Yeah. Well,
Did
no,
you
I think I never dug into like who the person actually is.
right?
You know?
Uh, there's a clip of Dennis Rodman and Michael Saylor on a stage together.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Satoshi's Dennis Rodman.
No, 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 no. And Dennis Rodman says, I met Satoshi Nakamoto 20 years ago. And the way that Michael Saylor looks at Dennis Rodman was, no, you fucking didn't. And the way that Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin, I'm always going to buy the top because you never lose money buying Bitcoin. The way that Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin and how invested he is, his company, he has more of, what is it like? he's got like a couple 100 billion in Bitcoin right now.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
ridiculous, right?
I mean, I forget what the stock is trading over $400 a share right now. I
I
mean,
I bought MicroStrategy about 4 months ago, and I'm really glad I did. Um, I have a hunch that Michael Saylor might know Satoshi. Just a just a hunch.
I mean, maybe.
We
So
we why is it a mystery? Is that person's life truly in danger because it's uprooting the whole entire central banking system? Is this the Titanic?
genie's out of the bottle, right? You can't go back. But like
Yeah,
honestly, it's the I think of life the same way. Like, give me the fortune, keep the fame. I don't want it. Like,
yeah,
I have no desire to be famous. Being famous, like, I think being famous sounds cool to people who've never been famous. I think most famous people just want their privacy and just want to be left alone, you know? Like, I would never wish that upon myself because as soon as people know, it sucks. Like, I can't do
can't
anything,
escape.
I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Friendships and relationships begin because of who you are, not who you are, but what your name is and what you've done.
Yeah, well, then you get a lot of fake friends too, you know?
Yeah, right.
Like that's the thing about money. It's like you don't know who your real friends are.
It's true. It's
It's
very
tough.
true. Yeah. I think kind of encapsulating this whole situation, I think what where we're headed as a whole is mostly positive. I know we talked a little bit about the things that we dislike about the current administration, breaking some promises, but a couple of the promises that have followed through is one, the health with RFK, and
Hmm.
two is the crypto, being pro crypto, being the crypto capital of the world, as Donald Trump calls it. I think embracing that has been so monumental to the direction of this country. So, like I've on other videos, I've been critical of him in a lot of ways, but there's also some ways that I can, give some kudos, and that's one of them.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think that's with most things, man. It's like,
Yeah.
there's I think everybody also forgets that like this is, situations like this have happened in the past. So like relax, take a shot of fucking ayahuasca, chill out for a little bit. Like, don't don't freak out about everything that you see on the news, and everything is not, the end of the world. And
Yeah.
like all this, people thought about the same things, like 100 years ago and like 200 years ago, when arguably, like during World War II, people did think the world was going to end. Like, and they had more of a reason to think about that then than we do now. Yeah, it just seems like there's a constant panic button all the time. Um,
False
and
flags. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like that's exhausting. That's an exhausting way to live, and it's like it couldn't be more unnatural to live life that way. And I think that's why you you just see a lot of the stuff that, like the division in this country when it comes to, politics and, identity politics and what side are you on? It's just like I'm not on a fucking side. I don't have a side. Like I
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Right.
like I have my ideas of what's right and wrong, and I agree with both sides in the aisle on just about half of the things. Um, but like I think we need to just get rid of this idea that there's like, it's us against them and I'm right and you're wrong. And it's just like, why don't we just chill out, figure out the common ground that we all do have, right? Like everybody wants a better future for our kids. Everybody thinks that we should get better at education and be smarter, right? And it's just like focus on that stuff. Stop freaking out about things. Chill out and, try and enjoy life. Buy some Bitcoin.
Buy some Bitcoin and buy some ICP too. Buy some ICP.
Yeah, right.
Have you heard of Internet Computer Protocol?
No, I have not.
Okay. That's my what's the term, Trojan horse?
What is it? Describe it.
So Internet Computer Protocol is a coin currently trading at like 544 a token. It opened like 3 or 4 years ago at like 200 per um
$200?
$200 per token. Yeah. It opened with like a $50 billion market cap. It was huge in the beginning. and then it fell off. And then a lot of people got scared of it because it tanked so monumentally. But what makes ICP so different from the rest of the coins is the purpose of the coin is the Internet of Things, and this is and what that means. It's such a weird term, and that's just your crypto terms. Is things you only half understand.
Well,
So
so I used to sell. I used to work at a company called PTC that was all about the IoT. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah. So you probably know a lot more about this than I do. So they have created this AI called Caffeine AI, and this AI helps you create your own internet, and it's very very simple. I mean, to the point where my 67-year-old grand or my 67-year-old mother could hop on ICP and type in, I want a website that will, you put in you check all your boxes, and then it just appears within minutes.
Hmm.
And it's kind of groundbreaking technology as far as AI goes. I'm not doing it justice. I haven't studied enough quite up on it to talk about it professionally, or for anybody to take financial advice. This isn't financial advice, by the way. But I I just see with this bull run coming and future bull runs that there's a ton of potential for a massive gain with this coin. It's kind of what I saw in Solana about 3.5 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, man. It started off at 111 and now it's trading at 5.
Yeah,
See, that's the scary thing about crypto too, man. Like, although I bought the Rivian IPO, so it's the same thing.
it is the same thing. It really is. It's a gamble,
Yep.
and you're gonna lose all your money, and you're gonna fail, and you're gonna hate
Yep.
yourself, and that's why we do it.
Well, but also like, and this is the thing that I love is like you never, and again, not financial advice for anybody who listens to this, but like don't go and invest money in things that you can't afford to lose. But also like there's 2 points in trading that matter, the only 2 points that matter, the time you buy and the time you sell. So like you haven't lost anything until you actually sell. So like
That's
you
correct.
just gotta ride it out. And like if it's a good investment long term, then yeah, but like that mindset of like gotta cut my losses, like that's just that is where I think a lot of people lose in trades.
It's something I learned in Costa Rica when, especially on the night of Yahe, is I was envisioning these charts being green and red, and I was thinking to myself, just ride the waves. Don't don't be impatient. Just set it and forget it.
Yep.
And it'll pay off. You're not one of these top tier, top 1% traders that can capitalize on the top and sell at the top and buy at the bottom every single time. It's not realistic.
Yep.
And if you are going to attempt to do that, you need to go in with zero emotion and, like what you said, with money that you're willing to lose.
Yep. Let me ask you this though. I know we're running short on time.
So that's fine. Yeah.
How do you like do you ever think about taking lifestyle chips off the table for some of your crypto trades and crypto assets? Because there comes a point where you're like, okay, I'm up like, 200%, 300%, 400%, like
Mhm.
just taking some of those gains and like doing something nice for yourself. Do you ever think about that?
Yeah. I haven't gotten to that amount yet though.
Yeah,
But
me neither. But like,
I was actually thinking about that yesterday. And I was thinking about, well, capital gains tax. I don't want to show income for too much in a year. So do I put a certain amount into USDC and then allow 5% interest accrual throughout the years, and then siphon a certain amount every year so then it doesn't hit my realized gains? I was kind of going through a plan that way of how much money can I put into USDC that would give me a yearly livable wage just on interest alone.
yep.
So yeah, I mean, God, if let's say ICP goes to $200 a token again, I mean, yeah, I'm taking out some money, and I might go through Europe a couple times back and forth. But and then also go to the Amazon and everything else.
Yep. So
But
USDC, how does that work? Essentially, you just throw your crypto in, you take USD out, and you pay 5% interest or something like that.
you get 5% interest. So if you
Oh,
yeah, every year. So, if you throw $1 million into USDC, 5% interest, it's a stable coin. It always stays at $1, sometimes like 90.99999, depending on if people are withdrawing. You get 5% on that million every year. So you get 50 grand a year just for a million sitting in USDC.
but can I transfer my crypto into USDC and not pay any tax on that?
Correct. Yeah, because it's still technically in a wallet.
That's interesting.
It's not a realized gain yet. It's a realized gain once you take it out of the market.
So when you spend it,
That's when when you spend it, when you take it out. But if it just sits, because it's still technically invested in a coin.
right?
So
I got more research to do. That's interesting to me.
yeah, we can talk more about it. If we are, I should study up a little bit more so then I don't look like a complete jackass. Like when I say Internet of Things and can't really explain what ICP does.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's like you said, it's a pathway to freedom,
Yep.
and that's the American dream, and we're living the American dream. There's no doubt about it, but we continue to pursue it, and that's what being a human is always trying to find the next level of progress.
Yeah.
If
Although
we
that's
if we
one thing that I certainly took from Rhythmia is that like sometimes you just need to stop and smell the roses and like enjoy what you've got and be grateful and like, you know, you've got, the universe is with you and for you and just wants you to have a good life and like just, you know, enjoy it, just it's it's pretty cool to be alive, you know?
it really is. Any final thoughts? I know you gotta run.
Um, I mean, yeah, we should do this more often. I know it's always tough with calendars and schedules and stuff, and life's been pretty crazy for me for a bit, but always love catching up. I love our topics. I feel like we're like-minded on a lot of this stuff, and also gives me some inspiration to go and do some more homework on crypto and some of these other things. I'm not going to create a TikTok account, and so you'll have to be my eyes and ears on TikTok, but
Okay,
uh,
I don't use TikTok either. I can't do it. Yeah,
that's good.
I actually just recently, I've been interviewing some friends to run a TikTok account for me. So
Ah,
that might be the key for you too. I know you don't like
yeah.
posting your stuff online, but if you could get somebody to do it for
Do it
you,
for you. Yeah.
a little
That's how
bit
you
of
build
digital footprint, gets a little bit of income from it, pay them that money, continue to build your brand. Before you know it, you're running your own solar company.
there we go.
There
I
we
love
go.
that. Fuck yeah. Let's do it.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate catching up with you,
As
and we
always.
we gotta do this again. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon. See you, man.